Good morning, students, and to all teachers. Myself, Sarita Yadav, from Dharavi Kalakela MTS Secondary School, welcomes you all to online education held by Mumbai Municipal Corporation Education Department. Okay, so we are going to continue with the subject Science and Technology, Part 2 of Standard 10. And our topic is Introduction to Microbiology. We had continued, okay, we have finished one session on this topic. Today, we are going to start with the second session. Let's begin, okay? Just quickly, we will have a recap what we covered during the first session. During the first session, we had studied about antibiotics, isn't it? What is antibiotics? Antibiotics are the carbon compounds which fight against specific diseases or microbes. Antibiotics have proved to be a boon to the mankind. Secondly, we studied about microbes and fuels. In microbes and fuels, we studied about different types of fuels, how microbes are helping us to generate fuels which are eco-friendly. Okay, in that we studied about production of methane, ethanol, and hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas, which is considered to be the fuel of future. Then we studied about biofuels. And biofuels also, see, again, it's a renewable source of good energy. In that, three types are there: solid biofuel, liquid biofuel, and gaseous biofuel. Then we studied about microbial pollution control, how microbes are helping us to control different types of pollution. And already we have studied the use of microbes in biogas and composting. Then we studied about landfilling sites. What are landfilling sites? Landfilling sites, in that the degradable waste accumulated in urban areas is used, okay? And for that, large pits are dug in open spaces far away from the residential areas. Then how we have studied the construction of the landfilling sites, then how bioreactors and biochemicals are added to bring about the decomposition. And after the decomposition process, compost is prepared, which is used. And then again, that landfilling sites can be reused. So these were the topics we covered during the first session. Okay. So today in session 2, we are going to continue with the further topics. And those topics are sewage management, clean technology, microbial inoculants, bioinsecticides, and some questions, okay, objective types of questions based on the topic. These are the points which we are going to cover in today's session. So let's begin. Our first topic is sewage management. Okay. Now, sewage management. Now, when we say sewage, what comes in our mind? Sewage means the waste water, okay, which is collected from the houses of the cities, and then it is carried to municipal treatment plant. Okay. So that sewage water, before when it is released, okay, when it is released into water bodies, maybe it seas, rivers, or ocean, it pollutes them. So it is very necessary to manage, to treat that sewage water before releasing it into the water body. Okay, so sewage management means sewage treatment, which is a process of removing contaminants from municipal wastewater containing mainly household sewage plus some industrial wastewater. Okay, and then to that wastewater, various processes are used like physical process, chemical process, and biological process. Now, all these processes are used to remove the contaminants, okay, which are polluting that water or present in water. For that, these processes are used to remove them and produce treated wastewater that is safe enough for release into the environment. Okay, so basically, the sewage water which is collected from households and even from industries, those were that sewage water contains contaminants, okay, which pollutes that water. Some toxic materials, microbes, germs are present in that. So in order to remove them, various processes are carried out so that after the treatment, when that sewage water is released, it will be safe enough for the water bodies and even for the environment. Okay. Secondly, if we talk about sewage water, if we talk about, especially in villages, okay, how sewage is managed in villages. Domestic sewage is disposed of either in nearby soil or in biogas plants. Okay, in villages, especially rural areas, the treatment plants are not present. So how there it is managed with the help of biogas plant, or it is disposed of either in soil, nearby soil, by digging a pit in the sewage water over there. Okay. Thirdly, but when we talk about urban areas, that is cities, this sewage needs to be carried to the processing units. Okay, you can see in the picture how these processing units, they are very large. Okay, and there that sewage water is carried. And then what happens? Various stages are there, and that sewage water is acted upon by microbial processes. Okay, that happens in cities. Then what happens during the treatment? Okay, when that sewage water is treated with specific microbes, the microbes can decompose any compound as well as destroy the pathogens of cholera, typhoid, etc., which is present in the sewage. Okay, so microbes, when it is introduced in sewage water, what it does, it decomposes the harmful compounds, okay, the toxic compounds which is present, and also it destroys the pathogens of cholera and typhoid. Okay, if those pathogens enters in our body, it can cause diseases like cholera and typhoid. So that's why the sewage water needs to be treated, and for that it is carried to treatment plants. During the process, what happens when microbes act upon the sewage water? It releases methane, okay, CH4, methane, and CO2, that is carbon dioxide. Now, how methane and CO2 is released? By decomposition of the carbon compounds present in sewage. So basically, the microbes acts upon the carbon compounds which are present in sewage, releasing methane and carbon dioxide. Okay, then during this treatment, now what happens? The bacteria, the microbes which are introduced in sewage water, they decompose the xenobiotic chemicals present in sewage. Okay, now what do you mean by xenobiotic chemicals? See, the sewage water contains many harmful compounds, chemicals are present in it. A xenobiotic chemical means they are man-made chemicals, not produced naturally. Okay, the chemicals present in water which are man-made, which are not produced naturally, are called xenobiotic. These xenobiotic compounds are present in the environment at unnaturally high concentration. Okay, so the proportion of this compound is very high. And microbes, there are certain microorganisms which have the capability to degrade all naturally occurring compounds. See, you have already studied that microorganisms are responsible for decomposition of naturally occurring compounds. Similarly, the xenobiotic compounds, it is very difficult to decompose them. Okay, but there are certain microbes, certain microorganisms which have the ability to degrade many of the xenobiotic compounds. Okay, so but few still remains non-degradable, which are called as recalcitrant compounds. Now this bacteria, okay, which decompose the xenobiotic chemicals, they are called phenol oxidizing bacteria. This bacteria acts upon the phenolic group present in the chemical compounds. Okay. Now, if I have to give you examples of xenobiotic compounds, they are pesticides, cosmetics, plastics, okay, also in bracket PVC, hormones, example is given estrogen. Then there are heavy metals also, like mercury is there, lead is there. Then drugs means antibiotics. Okay, so all these are the examples of xenobiotic chemicals which are man-made. Okay, so you have to remember, this is very important, which can be asked for objective type of question. Phenol oxidizing bacteria decompose the xenobiotic chemicals present in sewage. Okay, then next, continuing with the sewage management, during this process, the water, when the sewage water is treated, okay, sludge is also formed. What is sludge? Sludge is nothing but the muddy deposit or sediment, okay, which remains at the bottom. So that can be used as a fertilizer. Secondly, then the water is released after the microbial treatment is environmentally safe. Okay, so after the treatment of sewage water, the water which is released into the environment, it is environment friendly, environmentally safe. Therefore, microbes are used for bioremediation of environment polluted due to sewage, sorry. So microbes, bioremediation means what? Bioremediation means a process which uses microorganisms to reduce pollution. And how it brings about that? By degrading the pollutants or the non-toxic substance which is present. So again, microorganisms plays a very important role in sewage management. Okay, now after the sewage management, the next topic is clean technology. We have been studying due to rapid industrialization and rapid progress in the field of technology. Okay, what happens? Environment is suffering, isn't it? We human beings has made a very fast progress in technology. But however, environmental pollution is also increasing with the same speed, isn't it? We are every time hearing about different environmental pollutions or problems which are affecting us. Okay, so again, in order to combat, in order to reduce those different type of pollutions, microbes are used. Okay, so microbes are used to combat increasing soil, land, and water pollution. See, different types of pollution. So in order to reduce that, combat that, microorganisms are used. Pollution control can be done by using microbes that digest hydrocarbons. Okay, so hydrocarbon is the compound present in the environment due to various human activities which results into pollution. So those hydrocarbons can be digested with the help of microbes. So basically, in short, if we have to say what is clean technology? Clean technology is any process, product, or service that reduces negative environmental impacts through significant energy efficiency improvements. Okay, so we have to reduce the loss of energy, the sustainable use of resources. What is sustainable? That means what? The resources, different resources which are present around us, we are using them, but in a limited way. Okay, we don't have to waste it. We have to preserve it for the future generation, or environmental protection activities. Okay, so for that clean technology, we are taking the help of various microorganisms. Let's see which are the different microorganisms helping us. Okay, see, clean technology. Microbes have natural ability of decomposing the man-made chemicals. See, already when I say man-made chemicals, that means I'm talking about xenobiotic chemicals, isn't it? And we already studied that microbes have the natural ability to decompose the man-made chemicals. In this process, what happens? The hydrocarbons and other toxic chemicals which are present, they are transformed with the help of these abilities of the microbes. Okay, so basically the toxic compounds, the hydrocarbons, they are transformed into simpler compounds with the help of microbes. Let us see various examples of various example of microbes to use. Okay, first one, see, some microbes remove the sulfur from fuels. The fuels which we use for different purpose, especially for traveling and all, petrol, diesel and all, in that sulfur is present. Okay, so in order to remove the sulfur, some microbes are used. Now, why sulfur has to be removed? See, students, what happened? When sulfur is burned, it produces sulfur dioxide. Okay, and if that sulfur dioxide gets into the atmosphere, it results into acid rain. Okay, so that is why it is very essential to remove the sulfur from fuel before we burn the fuel. Got it? Now, various examples of microbes which are helping to remove sulfur from fuel are Rhodococcus, Rhodochrous, Arthobacter sulfuriae, Gordonia rubropertinita, and Rhodococcus erythropolis. Okay, these are the example of various microbes which are used to remove sulfur from fuel. That was one example. See, second, where microbes are helpful to us. Okay. Now, there are certain metals like copper, iron, then heavy metal like uranium. Okay. Then also zinc. These metals, they can leach into the environment. Okay. From low quality metalloids. Leach into the environment means what? It can leak or drain into the environment, mix into the environment. Okay. So what happens? These metals, they can be very harmful. So that's why they need to be converted into simpler compounds before the leaching takes place. And that can be done with the help of microbes called thiobacilli and sulfobacilli. See, very important, you have to remember the name of the microbes used for different purpose. Okay, so in order to convert the metals, okay, heavy metals into compounds before leaching, which microbes are used? Thiobacilli and sulfobacilli. So first we studied about removing sulfur from fuel. Secondly, we studied about metals. Okay, for that thiobacilli and sulfobacilli is used. See next, can you see the picture, two pictures? what those picture depicts. Okay, in the first picture, you can see oil spill, isn't it? And second picture, you can see dead fishes. Now, talking about oil spills, what results due to oil spills? See, basically, spilling of petroleum oil occurs in a ocean due to various reasons. Okay, now various reasons are responsible for that. Now, what are the various reasons? It can be accidents of the tankers that transport the crude oil from one place to another, okay, via waterways. Second, spillage through offshore oil wells. See, oil wells are present in oceans and all, in order to obtain the oils from the oil reserves which are present deep under the sea. Sometimes there is spillage in those wells. Pollutant released through effluents from shore. Various type of effluents are released into the water. So that act as a pollutant for the pollutant which get mixed into the water. The oil spills forms an oil film on the surface of water. It causes depletion of oxygen in the water. It also contains hazardous hydrocarbon which results in the death of fish. See, whenever oil, okay, it gets spilled into the water bodies, oceans, seas, it does not mix into it, because of difference in densities and viscosity also. So what happens? It floats over the water, and along with the water current, it spreads over a large surface within a short period. And this oil proves fatal and toxic to aquatic organism, which results into the death. That's why in the second picture, you can see the death of many fishes. The oil which forms a film on the surface of water, it spreads over a large area. So it is not easy to remove that oil layer from the surface by mechanical methods. Okay, it is a very tedious process and very difficult process. But again, microbes are helping us for this also. There are certain species of bacteria which are capable of destroying these harmful chemicals. Now let us see which bacteria. Okay. Now bacteria like Pseudomonas species and Alcanovorax borcumensis, they have the ability to destroy the pyridines and other chemicals present in the hydrocarbons. Okay. So these two examples of bacteria are very important. Okay. What are the names? Pseudomonas species and Alcanovorax borcumensis. What does bacteria do? They destroy the pyridines and other chemicals which are present in the hydrocarbon. And that is the reason for that. That is the reason these bacteria are used to clear the oil spills. Okay. So you have to remember which bacteria are used to clear the oil spills. Pseudomonas species and Alcanovorax borcumensis. Okay. And as they are capable of destroying the pyridines and chemicals present in hydrocarbon, that is the reason they are also called as hydrocarbonoclastic bacteria. In bracket, I have written the short form HCB. Okay. What is the full form? Hydrocarbonoclastic bacteria. HCB. Okay, so HCB, okay, this bacteria, it decomposes the hydrocarbon, and what it does, it brings about the reaction of carbon with oxygen. Got it? So you have to remember, okay, HCB, it brings about the reaction of carbon with oxygen, and during this process, carbon dioxide and water is formed, okay, and which are basically simpler compounds. So in this way, the oil spills are cleaned by releasing them at the place of oil spills. Okay, so basically you have to remember for oil spills, which two bacteria are used? Pseudomonas species and Alcanovorax. And what is the, in short, what we call them? HCB, hydrocarbonoclastic bacteria. Got it? Then next, we will go on to see about plastics. You know plastics, okay, now they are the major part of our life, day-to-day life. But plastic, as they are non-biodegradable, okay, they remain into the environment for long. So what happens forever? So plastic bottles, especially plastic bottles, wrappers, okay, they are formed from the chemical substance. What is the name of that chemical substance? PET. That means polyethylene terephthalate polyester. Okay, polyethylene terephthalate polyester. Short form is PET. Okay, this is the chemical substance from which plastic bottles are made. And nowadays, most of the urban garbage, it consists of plastic. So, and plastic, you know, it is non-biodegradable. But again, there are certain species of bacteria or microbes which are responsible for decomposing the PET. Okay. And what are those, which are those microbes? Vibrio. First one is Vibrio. Second one is Ideonella saccharensis. So again, to bring about the decomposition of plastic, which microbes are used? Vibrio and Ideonella saccharensis. Two names, okay, you have to remember. Then next, similarly, there are certain species of fungi, okay? Now what are the names? See, actinomycetes, streptomyces, nocardia, actinoplanes, okay? These species of fungi, they have ability of decomposing rubber from garbage. You also know how rubber is also present in urban waste, isn't it? So to bring about the decomposition of rubber, these four species of fungi are used. Okay, remember the name: actinomycetes, streptomyces, nocardia, and actinoplanes. Got it? Then next, sulfuric acid. We are going to see the example of sulfuric acid. Okay, sulfuric acid, it is present in acid rains and materials which is coming out of the mines. Okay, mining, various mines are there. So from that also the materials which comes out, it has sulfuric acid in it. Okay, then what happens? Because of this sulfuric acid, it causes erosion of metals. Okay, erosion of metals, degradation of metals, which these metals, where are they present? In statues, bridges, and building. So when it brings about the erosion of metals, basically it is causing the corrosion, isn't it? Degradation of that metal. But see, this sulfuric acid, which is causing so much damage, still it is a source of energy for some species of bacteria. That means what? Certain species of bacteria, they derive their energy from sulfuric acid. Now, which are those bacteria? See, Acidophilium species and Acidobacillus ferrooxidans. Ferroxidans, okay? Remember the name? Acidophilium species and Acidobacillus ferrooxidans. This species of bacteria, they are capable of deriving energy from the sulfuric acid. So if you, we have studied about acid rain. Acid rains, they are responsible for damaging the statues, bridges, buildings. They are responsible for changing the pH of water. They are responsible for soil pollution also. So these bacteria can control the soil pollution occurring due to the acid rain. Got it? So we studied about oil spills. We studied about plastic bottles. Okay. Then how rubber is decomposed. Here, how sulfuric acid problem can be managed with the help of microbes. Next is some examples. See, water soluble salts. Okay, during the process of electroplating and the wastewater which is released from atomic energy plant. In that water, some water soluble salts, okay, of heavy metals are present, like uranium. Okay, so what happened? There is a bacteria called geobacter. Geobacter can convert these salts of uranium into insoluble salts and thereby prevent these salts from mixing with groundwater resources. So what is important here? The name of the bacteria, Geobacter. What it does? It converts salts of uranium into insoluble salts. Got it? So these were various examples of microbes which are used for clean technology. You can see, let's have a quick recap. Oil spills, then bacteria which are used, Pseudomonas species, Alcanovorax borcumensis, also called as hydrocarbonoclastic bacteria. Secondly, for plastic, decomposition of plastic or PET, microbes called Vibrio Ideonella saccharensis is used. For decomposition of rubber, actinomycetes, streptomyces, nocardia, actinoplanes. For managing the sulfuric acid, acidophilium species and acidobacillus ferroxidans. For metalloids, okay, for different metalloids, to manage the different metalloids, thiobacilli and sulfobacilli are used. And to convert the uranium, salts of uranium into insoluble salts, geobacter is used. Okay, so we had a very quick recap of different microbes used in clean technology. Next, microbes and farming. Okay, let's see how microbes play a role, a very important role in the field of farming. We have already studied about the bacteria which are present in soil and root nodules of leguminous plant, how they are useful. Okay, so let's see how. See, there is a bacteria called rhizobium which is present or found in the root nodules of leguminous plants like peas, beans, soya beans. Okay, now this what it does, it induces the formation of special structure called nodules. You can see small round structure present in the root, isn't it? That is called nodules. And what it does, it fixes the rhizobium fixes the atmospheric nitrogen. These bacteria are responsible for supplying nitrates and nitrites and amino acids to the plant. See, plants cannot directly get the nitrogen from air. Okay, so it has to be converted into nitrates and nitrites and amino acid, which is done by the rhizobium. They have the capacity to convert nitrogen in the soil and air to form such compounds which is useful for the growth or development of the leguminous plants. Okay, then apart from this, in the field of farming or agriculture, microbes, how microbe plays an important role. See, microbes are used as a microbial inoculants. Okay, what it is also called as soil inoculants. They are nothing but agricultural amendments. Amendments mean changes, okay? That uses beneficial microbes to promote plant health. So in simpler words, we are using microbes for the betterment, for better growth and development of the plant. These microbes containing inoculants are produced by the process of fermentation. And how they are used? They are used for spraying on seeds before sowing. Okay, so before the seed is sowed, these inoculants are sprayed on the seeds, or even some of them are released into plants. Okay, then what are the benefits of microbial inoculants? The nutrients are supplied through microbial inoculant, which helps in growth of plant. Okay. Secondly, it also increases the nutritional quality of the crop. Thirdly, okay, there are certain fertilizers Okay, there are chemical fertilizers which causes soil pollution. So it is prevented by injecting solution containing azotobacter and artificial nitrogenous, okay, which is basically these methods are adopted in organic farming. Then chemicals like fluoroacetamide are mixed with soil as chemical pesticides. Okay, there are chemical pesticides used like fluoroacetamide, which is mixed in the soil. And these chemical pesticides are harmful to the plants and animals and also responsible to cause skin diseases to humans. So such harmful substances can be eradicated by using microbes. Okay, so these are the various benefits of microbial inoculants. Lastly, we are going to see about bioinsecticides. Now, through biotechnology, bacterial and fungal toxins are directly integrated into plants. Okay, there are certain bacterial and fungal toxins, harmful substances, which are integrated to the plant to protect them from fungal and pest attacks. See, this bacterial and fungal toxins, when they are injected into the plant, okay, they are not harmful to the plant, but harmful to the pest or the fungal diseases or fungal germs which are destroying them. Okay, so insects avoid such plants as they are secondly toxic. There are some species of fungi and viruses which are also to be used as pesticides. See the example, one of them is spinosad. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. That is spinosad. Okay, that is spinosad. It is produced through fermentation and it is used as a biopesticide. Again, you have heard about plastics problem, isn't it? There are biodegradable plastic called polylactic acid. It is used as a garbage bag and that is eco-friendly. Got it? So that was the end of our session. Let's have some objective types of question on the session. Okay. Yes, those who know the answer, they can unmute themselves and answer. See the first one. Phenol oxidizing bacteria decompose the dash chemicals present in sewage. Anyone? Yes, you can unmute yourself if you know the answer. Shall I give the answer? Ma'am, can they unmute themselves? Okay, let me give the answer. The answer is xenobiotic. Okay, phenol oxidizing bacteria decompose the xenobiotic chemicals present in sewage. Secondly, C, bacteria used to clear oil spills are called dash bacteria. Answer is hydrocarbonoclastic bacteria. Okay, so bacteria used to clear oil spills are called hydrocarbonoclastic bacteria. Thirdly, dash converts the salts of uranium into insoluble salts. See, student, if you know the answer, you can unmute yourself. Ma'am, can they unmute themselves? Okay, I think you can't unmute. So let me give the answer. Answer is geobacter. Geobacters convert the salts of uranium into insoluble salts. Okay. See the next one. Dash. A byproduct of fermentation is a biopesticide.
Spinosad.
Yes, very good. The answer is spinosad. Okay. See the next one. See, actinomycetes, streptomyces, nocardia, yeast. Find the odd one out. Which is the odd one? Yes?
Yeast.
Yeast. Yes, very good. The answer is Yeast. And what is the reason?
Yeast.
All others have ability of decomposing rubber from garbage. Okay. So students, we have covered few questions based on the topic. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Yes, ma'am. Shall I wind up?
Yeah, ma'am. Wind up the lecture.
Thank you, students, to be patient.